Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. This is the 2020th day of continuous webinar conducted by International Forum for Promoting Homeopathy. I am inviting Dr. Rijita Trivedi to moderate today's session. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, friends, and a warm welcome to all IFBH members and colleagues. Today is our 2020 day of uninterrupted daily webinar of IFBH on 13th March 2026 at 8:30 p.m. And our today's guest is Dr. Dhanalakshmi R. Mallan, BHMS, Diploma in Clinical Psychology. Consultant physician at Dr. Mallan's Homeo Clinic, Cherthala, and she's second generation doctor of Dr. A.R. Mallan, retired DMO, and she has more than 15-year experience. And ma'am has presented many presentations before this session, and her today's topic is types of constitution. Uh, Ma'am, you can start your presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Rajita and Dr. Dhanesh.
Thank you.
Greetings to all of you who are attending. Let me try sharing my screen. Hope it's visible.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, greetings to all of you. Today it's a very common topic and a topic that is every one of us is aware about. I thought it's important to compile all the type of constitutions that exist all around us, including all the other systems, so that it is helpful for us to understand the patient, to communicate with them, to understand them, individualize them in a better way, categorize them maybe. So let's dive directly into the topic. Constitution is the sum of all an individual's physical and mental characteristics. It is obviously determined by the interaction of genetic inheritance and environmental factors. We all know that. Okay, what Hahnemann has said about constitution is he directly and indirectly mentions it in many ways. Firstly, by vital force, where he mentions vital force as the energy that stimulates the material part that is our body, and then he mentions about the chronic miasm, which is a poison or the energy that is deep-seated, often hereditary, and it is the underlying cause of all the diseases or predispositions that occurs to a person. He categorizes it as SORA, psychosis, and syphilis. I'm not intervening into that. Then a state of disposition is from 4 to 10 onwards. He mentions different types of different aspects of a constitution and temperament, idiosyncrasies of a person. Then Hahnemann's focus was on the miasmatic influence and vital force, and Dr. Kent, Roberts, and all the modern homeopaths gave more importance to the physical appearance and temperament of the person. For Hahnemann, diagnostic tool was total sum of current symptoms, and for others it was types, the phosphorus type, the mineral type, the plant type, animal type. For Hahnemann, the goal was removing the miasmatic block, whereas for other homeopaths like Kent and Roberts, their focus was on matching the remedy to the personality. So it was like individualizing the person and matching it to the individuality of the remedy. Then Hahnemann's checklist was what was the patient like before the illness? So baseline constitution. Before the illness, what was the constitution, temperament, nature of the person, health of the person, and how has their spirit or disposition changed now? Okay, what is the current stage? How is it different from the baseline stage? And does the remedy being considered produce the exact emotional state in healthy provers? So the remedy that produces the same exact state in healthy provers is used to cure the person. Then, what are the benefits of learning about constitution, understanding the constitution? So, eminent homeopaths, they say right before the person starts talking, right when the person enters the room, they are able to predict the constitution, what is their temperament, what is the miasm dealing with it. So, studying the constitutions and type of constitutions help us analyze the person better. So, predicting disease susceptibility. So, what type of constitution is he, and what is his nature, and what type of diseases is he susceptible to? Then, refining individualization treatment. Because he belongs to a particular constitution, these are the remedies that can be considered, and further individualization will help us nudge the remedy. Then, understanding the mind body link. So, what is going on in his mind, and how is the body getting affected, and vice versa. Then preventive medicine. So if someone is on the carbonitrogenide constitution, as we'll come to it later, we can ask them to exercise better, mobilize themselves better, not lead a sedentary life. That way we can help them prevent diseases. Then better communication with the person. We know how they are able to understand what is their lifestyle, how can they change better for better, all these things. From learning the constitution of the person, we can ease it out. Then, from learning the type of constitutions, the first name that enters our mind is Dr. Edward von Groverger. So he's the father of constitutions, as we say it. Then he was previously a military surgeon and an ardent follower of homeopathy. But during his era, during his period, the homeopathy faced a lot of criticisms that it is unscientific, it is not based on the, because it is simply based on the subjective symptoms of the patient. So, Grover studied homeopathy deeply and started linking it with 19th century chemistry. So there were many chemists whose work he was influenced by. And in the mid 18th century, homeopathy was often criticized for being unscientific because it relied on the subjective feelings of the patient. Grover argued that while symptoms matter, the physical makeup of the body, that is, the constitution, dictates why those symptoms happen. So, to understand why a person is suffering from these subjective symptoms, it is important to understand the physical makeup of the body. Then he believed that human body was essentially a chemical laboratory where oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, and hydrogen were constantly interacting. So at that time, maybe science was not that evolved, and we need to understand that also. So these are the main components he could filter into. So oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, and hydrogen. So these elements were found around us in the environment in various proportions everywhere naturally, and also in our blood and tissues. These elements were found. So he figured out that there was some failure happening in the regulation of these elements, which led to particular diseases. And this can be categorized into three. Hydrogenoid constitution, when failure happens to regulate a water component. Then oxygenoid constitution, oxygen intake, and carbonitrogenoid, when there is a failure to eliminate carbon or nitrogen. He observed that certain minerals naturally attract or repel water. So, how his explanation on this was, if a person's body is prone to soak all the water like a sponge, what he calls it as hydrogenoid constitution. So he may need something that physically expels or extracts that water from his body. So he found global salt or natrum salt, a hygroscopic salt, as and it became the golden standard remedy for damp weather ailments. So he calls it, or they call it, cure by contrast discovery. But from what we can understand, it is that a person who is prone to attracting water from the environment is cured by a remedy which by itself attracts water from the environment. So it can be considered similia similibus curantur. Then coming deep into the type of constitutions, hydrogenoid constitution is called the sponge because it absorbs all the water from the environment. It means, the literal meaning is hydrogenoid or hydrogen-like. So what hydrogen does is, whenever available, it absorbs a molecule, an atom of oxygen, and becomes water, the most stable form it can become. Then the key features are symptoms worse in damp weather, a rainy climate, and near water, sensitive to humidity and cold, tendency to fluid retention, diseases often related to joints, rheumatism, asthma, etc. Then common remedies are natrum salt, thuja, salve, etc. Then physical appearance are swollen altogether, the face is swollen, hands are swollen, ankles are swollen, muscles and skin look flabby and inelastic. They are prone to overweight, not because of fat, but because of the water accumulation in their body. And they are aggravated by dampness in general, rainy weather, fog, high humidity, damp basements, seashore, poor ventilation, house attacked with mold, bathing, watery foods like melons, cucumbers, mushrooms, fish, everything aggravates them. And the disease tendencies are more towards chronic catarrh, nose, throat, and chest, psychotic miasms like warts, moles, or cysts, and they are prone to slow recovery. Illness often settling in the chest or sinuses. Whenever they get a cold or catarrh, it settles down in the chest and takes a long time to recover. And lethargy or heaviness in general, both physically and mentally, it makes them sluggish or lazy. That gloomy disposition, again, emotionally or mentally, they are depressed or sluggish, and irritable also. Coming to the oxygenoid constitution, it's said to be the burner. What does oxygen do? Whenever, whatever it comes in contact with, it starts eating it up or burning it up. Same happens in an oxygenoid constitution. The literal term means oxygen like. So dominance of oxygen processes in the body. They are generally thin and active, energetic individuals. Then their metabolism is very fast. Symptoms develop suddenly and intensely. Tendency towards inflammatory diseases. The common remedies that can be considered are aconitum, belladonna, phosphorus, etc. So regardless of how much they eat, their build is thin and emaciated. The bones or joints are often prominent. Then skin is dry, pale, and translucent. Veins are generally visible from outside. Then face is sunken, hollow cheeks, and deep set eyes. And weight, they struggle to gain weight often. And the triggers, the aggravating factors are, they are very sensitive to the atmospheric changes. So before a change in weather, their symptoms flush up. Then fresh air, they usually feel better in open air or well ventilated spaces. See, they often feel worse in transition between seasons, in between spring and autumn, in between seasons. Though generally they are prone to diseases like ulcerations, like it burns up the tissue, so it eats up the tissue. It causes ulceration, glandular destruction, anemia, again eating up tissues, looking pale despite having good appetite. Then a rapid metabolism. Then behavioral traits are, they are full of energy, on edge of it. They are restless, mentally quick. Their energy is fragile. They burn out quickly. So they work as hell, then lie down, or burn out as hell, lie exhausted, as dead. Then Their appetite is ravenous, prone to bulimia, eats beyond their hunger. So, but stay thin as the body consumes fuel immediately. The carbonitrogenide constitution is the third one. It is compared to an engine which is clogged. So, because the engine is clogged, it doesn't work properly. What causes the clog? Carbon and nitrogen gets deposited in different places, or the metabolism doesn't occur in a proper manner. Though the metabolism is generally slow, they are prone to overweight, they are sluggish. So there is an accumulation of toxins, a lot of toxins in various places, localized or generalized in their body. So digestive problems occur, weak circulation, diseases tend to be chronic or slow developing. Common remedies are calcarea carb, lycopodium, and carbo-veg. So they are generally of robust and strong constitution, but there is an underlying sense of congestion. Sudden weight gain or obesity as they age, and skin may look darker, dull, or even earthy, prone to skin eruptions that are dry or scaly. Face looks congested, redness in the face, that is called plethora, or visible small veins on the cheeks and nose. The circulation is sluggish, leading to cold hands and feet despite internally warm core. The congestion is defined by the constitution, the carbonitrogenide constitution. The single term for it is stagnation. Stagnation in every aspect of their body and mind. Worse with inactivity, better with physical exercise. So they can't lead sedentary life. Sedentary life is what causes diseases or aggravates their symptoms. So better with physical exercise, sweating, or any natural elimination. Then they crave for fresh air, feel suffocated in crowded, poorly ventilated rooms, and they have high tolerance for rich food, but eventually suffer from gouty or uric acid symptoms because they can't filter out the proteins, and these get deposited in different localities, causing the disease. So the diseases they are prone to are gout and rheumatism, respiratory issues, liver and kidney sluggishness. These are the excretory organs, are organs of detoxification. Then headaches, usually congestive headaches, like the head is going to burst. Behaviorally, they are irritable because there are a lot of toxins deposited in their body. They are prone to get angry, irritable, and brain fog. They are also workhorses. They are hard workers and high achievers, but they push themselves until their system literally shuts down. So another kind of classification we are going to see into is the source, depending on the source of remedy. Generally, today we are only discussing three kinds of source remedies. They are animal, plant, and mineral sources. So how can we classify constitutions based on source of remedies? The core energy or theme of the source manifests in a person's physical, emotional, or mental makeup. Means a person, it can be the person's constitution can be matched with the general constitution of an animal remedy or a plant remedy. This was popularized by Dr. Rajan Shankaran as a sensation method, where he matched inner experience or vital sensation with fundamental nature of the substance in nature. Dealing with plant constitution, the plant type is generally fragile, sensitive, or easily influenced by the external stimuli. They are sensitive, highly sensitive, and susceptible to emotional or physical pain. Then reactivity is rapid in and rapid out. Symptoms appear suddenly and leave suddenly. After a specific trigger, maybe fright, grief, or cold wind, they get affected suddenly and the symptoms subside also very quickly. Then adaptability, like a plant bending in the wind. These constitutions often struggle to maintain a rigid boundary. So as the plant bends to the wind, these patients also get affected by the external environment very easily. I'm not entering into the details of this because of the limitation of time. Animal constitutions, generally their behavior depends on interaction and reactivity with the environment. It is like whenever they narrate their symptoms, it is like me versus him. And instead of saying the environment, something happened to me, they would like to say he did this to me, or the person did this to me, or they did this to me. Then they are intense, expressive, and competitive. Plant remedies are not generally competitive, they are calm and composed. Then physicality of the animal remedies are often characterized by suddenness, heat, and high metabolic activity. So the themes are aggression, sexuality, territoriality, and desire for attractiveness or dominance. So generally we can say Ophidia, lac remedies, arachnida, insect remedies, mammal remedies. There are a particular features or for every families we are dealing with. Then mineral constitutions, generally they have lens for security and deficiency. Their core internal dialogue is, do I have what it takes to survive or maintain my position? So it is self-doubt, or am I secure? Am I deficient? They are peculiar about order and logic. They tend to be systematic, organized, and focused on facts and tangible results. Then, completeness. Their symptoms often relate to a feeling of being incomplete or eroding. Relationship to the self, they are often concerned with their own identity, their home, their job, or their health as a functional unit. We can consider Calcarea or carbon family, Silesia family, ferrum family, argentum family, and aurum family. Then mental constitution types. Depending on the behavior, emotions, or reactions, fears, and personality of the person, we can divide them into nervous, bilious, lymphatic, and sanguine constitutions. Nervous constitutions are highly sensitive and emotional, easily excited or anxious, quick thinking, but may get mentally exhausted very easily, often prone to worry and restlessness. Common remedies are phosphorus, argentum, nitricum. Bilious remedies are irritable and easily angered. They have strong willpower and determination, tendency towards impatience and frustration. Usually active and ambitious, remedies like Naxomica and sulfur. Lymphatic constitutions are calm, mild, and slow, gentle and easygoing personality, may be lazy or sluggish, often avoids conflicts, remedies like Calcarea, Silesia. Sanguine constitutions are cheerful, optimistic, and social, friendly and energetic, enjoys company and activities, generally emotionally balanced, and some remedies like sulfur and pulsatilla. So this alone is a topic that can be discussed for a session. This is so vast that we can discuss it for 1 hour, but I'm just running through it. And it's for general awareness, I'm discussing constitutional types of other systems as well. So in Ayurveda, they are called the dosha constitution. Constitution is called the prakriti of the person, and it is dependent on the balance between three factors: vata, pitta, and kapha. So these three factors govern the physical, mental, and emotional traits of the person. Then vata dosha, or the air and ether, the five elements combined to, or the deficiency of these elements depends determine which dosha the person belongs to. So the vata constitution or the vata dosha constitution, they are generally thin, light frame, irregular appetite persons, dry skin and hair. They are creative, quick thinking, enthusiastic, but easily anxious or restless. Then health tendencies are prone to constipation, joint problems, insomnia, cold intolerance. Lifestyle tips are warm, nourishing foods, regular routine grounding exercises like yoga or meditation. The fact why we should be aware of these things is that persons who are high in Vata dosha, they are should be asked not to do vigorous or violent exercises as that causes harm to their body. And there are certain foods they should avoid and certain food they should uh, be recommended to. Then the personality flavor is the spark plug. They are fast, imaginative, sometimes scattered. The Pitta dosha, the combination of fire and water. They are medium built, strong metabolism, warm body temperature, fair or reddish complexion, sharp intellect, ambitious, competitive, strong willed, prone to irritability. Health tendencies are for digestive issues, acid reflux, inflammation, skin rashes. Then, lifestyle tips would be cooling food has to be prescribed, avoid excessive heat, balance work with relaxation. So their gastric system is generally affected. So food and exercise should be to balance and relax their digestive system internally. Then personality flavors would be warrior intellect. They are focused, driven, a little fiery. Then kapha or phlegm, kapha dosha, combination of earth and water. They are sturdy, broad frame, slower metabolism, soft, smooth skin, and oily hair. They are calm, patient, steady, nurturing, maybe a little lethargic or resistant to change. Then they weight gain easily, congestion happens, respiratory issues, and fluid retention. Their lifestyle tips are stimulating foods and activities. Because their digestion is very slow, they should be required stimulating food like with more spices and pungent foods. Then stimulating foods and activities, regular exercise is very important for them, and avoid excessive sleep. Then personality flavor is steady anchor. They are very reliable, calm, slow to stress. Then combinations. There are combinations of these three doshas. Vata, Pitta dosha is creative and ambitious but can burn out easily. Pitta, Kapha, they are strong, organized, sometimes stubborn. Vata, Kapha, sensitive yet grounded, can be prone to imbalance in extremes. So Tridosha, this is a very rare occasion where all the doshas are in equal and well-balanced manner, and this can be considered a very healthy person as such. Uh, it is very rare as such. Then, in traditional Chinese medicine, also, depending on the imbalances of Qi, Yin Yang, and the five elements, there are personality types. They are wood type, fire type, earth type, metal type, and water type. The wood type is physically tall and medium built, strong limbs with prominent muscles. They are ambitious, assertive, competitive, sometimes irritable, and impatient. Their health tendencies are around liver and gallbladder problems, eye issues, tension headaches. Personality flavor is the go-getter, the go-getter person, full of energy and drive, likes to plan and lead. Then the fire type is medium built, tends to be warm-bodied, good circulation. They are enthusiastic, passionate, extroverted, and sometimes quick-tempered. Health tendencies are on the heart, small intestine, or circulatory issues, prone to insomnia. Personality flavor is a social spark, loves interaction and excitement, high energy. The earth type is medium or sturdy built, strong digestive system, round face, nurturing patient, dependable, grounded, sometimes worry prone. Their health tendencies are on the stomach, spleen, digestive issues, and weight gain. Personality flavor is the provider, stable, practical, and supportive person. The metal type is also medium built or lean built, strong chest and lungs. He's disciplined, organized, self-reliant, may be rigid or a perfectionist. They are prone to diseases of respiratory issues, skin problems, sensitive to dryness. They are the strategists, the structured, methodical, focused on rules. The water type is slender, flexible built, often pale or cool skin. They are thoughtful, cautious, sensitive, intuitive, sometimes shy. They are prone to diseases of kidneys and urinary system, low energy or fatigue. The personality flavor is the thinker, deeply reflective, resourceful, and cautious. So, this is the comparison of the various types of constitutions. And again, in Unani system of medicine, the constitutional types are called the mizaj of the person or temperament of the person. Again, it is based on the four humors. They call it Dam, Safra, Sauda, and Balgham. Respectively, they are blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm. The mizaj affects your body, physical traits, personality, and disease susceptibility. The sanguine or the Mavi temperament, they are blood humor is excess in them. Body traits are medium built, a rosy complexion, well proportioned. They are cheerful, energetic, social, and optimistic people. The health tendencies are for fever, inflammation, skin problems, overexcitement. So avoid overeating, maintain routine, balance activity with rest. So we have mentions of sanguine temperament in our Materia Medicas as well. So these are the traits of a sanguine temperament. Then, some of the sanguine remedies are aconitum for sudden intense symptoms, often accompanied by a strong pulse and acute anxiety. And phosphorus suits the social butterfly or extroverted, affectionate, communicative, but prone to quick exhaustion and burning out. Ferrometallicum, again linked to pseudoplethora, the persons look ruddy and energetic, but may actually be debilitated or anemic. Hyoscyamus, indicator for very talkative, excitable, and sometimes impulsive or for shameless behavior. Then, choleric temperament or Safravi is where the yellow bile is prominent. Then they are medium or slightly tall build, a warm body. The temperament is ambitious, strong willed, irritable, and quick tempered. They are they are prone to acidity, liver disorders, inflammation, anger related issues. Cool foods, they need to have cool foods that soothes their digestive system, avoid excessive heat, and practice relaxation. Some of the remedies are Naxomica, the quintessential choleric remedy. They are ambitious, impatient, and workaholic, easily offended, and prone to road rage or digestive issues from stress. Then Bryonia are irritable, wants to be left alone, and talks about business even when sick. Symptoms are worse from any movement. Chamomilla, extremely irritable, sensitive to pain, often described as uncivil or snappy. Colocynth, ailments from indignation or suppressed anger. Then melancholic temperament, the dominant is black bile. Body traits are thin, lean, dry skin, thoughtful, serious, introverted, and sometimes pessimistic people. They are prone to digestive issues, constipation, depression, and low immunity. Lifestyle tips would be warm, moist foods, moderate exercise, and maintain emotional balance. Natromuriaticum, the classic melancholy remedy, reserved, avoids being the center of attention or dwells on past unpleasant memories, consoles others but hates being consoled themselves. Orometallicum for deep, heavy melancholy, serious, duty bound, and highly self critical, often feels they have failed in their responsibilities. Sepia for melancholy coupled with indifference, feels worn out by family or work demands, wants to be alone and away from the people they usually love. Ourselves is highly anxious and perfectionistic. They are restless and fastidious, worrying excessively about health, security, and order. Phlegmatic constitution, they are heavy or solid built, soft skin, slow metabolism. They are calm persons, patient, steady, slow moving, sometimes lazy. So they are prone to obesity, coldness, edema, and respiratory issues. They are advised to take stimulatory foods and activities, avoid lethargy, maintain digestive activity. Calcarea carb is a wonderful example for phlegmatic constitution. The fair-skinned, plump, slow-moving, hard-working but gets easily tired, prone to cold feet and perspiration on the head. Pulsatilla is gentle, yielding, and sweet-tempered. They seek comfort and company, often feeling better in open air, emotionally soft and easily moved to tears. Graphitis is stout, chilly, and prone to stuckness like constipation or thick skin, mentally steady but can be cautious or hesitant. Antim-crude is sentimental and mushy but can be grumpy if disturbed, often associated with thick white coating on the tongue and a love for pickles. Then, somatotypes. Even in Western medicine, prominent psychologists called William Sheldon have classified persons into three prominent constitutions based on their body build and associated temperament. Though this classification is not used for treatment, it can be useful for understanding the physical or psychological patterns in people. So, the three classifications are ectomorphs, endomorphs, and mesomorphs. Ectomorphs are people with thin, narrow frames, small joints, low body fat, and light muscle mass. They are sensitive, introverted, anxious people, high strung, and thoughtful. They are prone to low stamina and nervous system disorders. They are delicate, high energy thinkers. Then mesomorphs are muscular, athletic built body, broad shoulders, narrow waist, good metabolism. Active, adventurous, and assertive people. They are confident and energetic, usually strong and healthy, can overeat or overtrain. The natural athlete or go-getter. The endomorphs. They are round, soft, higher body fat, wide hips and shoulders, slow metabolism. They're calm and sociable and relaxed, can be slow moving or resistant to change. Prone to obesity and metabolic issues, they have lower stamina, but they are steady, grounded, and easygoing type people. So, beyond these classifications, there are classifications based on psychological symptoms of the person or psychological build of the person. Then, extroverted remedies. We know there are introverted remedies and extroverted remedies. They are called radiators. They keep radiating their energy to the external environment. Some of the remedies are phosphorus. It is social diffusion and phosphorus. They are like light bulb. They radiate energy and merge with everyone in the room. So they have a friendly, bubbly, and easily influenced by others' emotions. Then again, sulfur is intellectual proliferation. He's a scholar, he's a rapt philosopher. They love to talk, lecture, and share their theories. They are confident, messy, and craves an audience. Lachesis is a verbal flow. So intense loquacity, they jump from one topic to another and feel a physical need to speak to release tension. They are magnetic, jealous, and highly expressive. Argentum nitricum is anticipatory speed. Always in a hurry, always talking, and always looking for the next exit or excitement. They are excitable, impulsive, and socially anxious but active. Tarantula has physical restlessness. They cannot sit still. They move, dance, and act out to process their high internal energy. They are wild, hurried, and highly sensory seeking. Then introverted remedies can be natramur. There is emotional containment, the wall of salt. They process deep grief and joy internally and dislike being consoled. They are stoic, dignified, and highly private. Silencia is mental rigidity. They are quiet but have a backbone of steel. They have fixed ideas but rarely shout about them. They are delicate, refined, and socially hesitant. Baraita is socially regressive, extremely shy, and fearful of strangers. They often hide behind their parents or a safe person. They are childlike, timid, and avoidant of spotlight. Has emotional withdrawal. When stressed, they want to be alone in a dark room. They feel indifferent even to those they love. They are independent, wary, and seek solitude to recover. Aurum metallicum is out of internal duty. They carry the weight of the world on their shoulders in silence. Their struggles are entirely internal. They are serious, melancholic, and deeply responsible. Again, the switch or the mask. The person who is introverted may sometimes be extroverted and vice versa. A few remedies that exhibit these traits are lycopodium. They are internally cowardly and insecure, but they have an external mask or persona that is dictatorial or bossy. And they are doing this to gain respect or fear. The Natramore again is vulnerable and hurting inside, but outside they show to be cold and independent. This is to prevent more pain. Ignatia is struck internally, but externally she is hysterical and joking. This is to avoid the void or emotional void or vacuum that has been created from an emotional trauma. Then Staphys agria is resentful and angry internally, but sweet and submissive externally to maintain dignity. Aurum metallicum is despairing and heavy internally, but highly achieving and stoic externally to fulfill duty or worth. Then again, modern personality models. This is something many of us have to learn anew. They're the big fives, or they are the acronym is OCEAN. The criterias are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So openness can be for creative, curious, and imaginative people. Conscientiousness is for organized, responsible, and disciplined people. Extroversion is for sociable, energetic, and assertive people. Agreeableness is for cooperative, friendly, and compassionate people. And neuroticism is for sensitive, anxious, and moody people. According to these criteria, there are 16 personality types based on 4 dimensions. The 4 dimensions are extraversion versus introversion. That they are denoted with E and I. E for energized by social interaction, outgoing and talkative people. I or introversion for energized by alone time, reflective and private people. Then S and N for focused on sensing, focus on concrete facts, details, and present reality. And N for intuition, focus on ideas, patterns, possibilities, and future. T or thinking, that makes those who make decisions based on logic, objective analysis, and F for feeling, those who make decisions based on emotions, values, and harmony. J for judging, and P for perceiving. Judging are people who like structure, planning, organized lifestyle. And P for flexible, spontaneous, people who prefer keeping options open. The classification is the 4 MBTI dimensions, or the Myers-Briggs type indicators. Based on these 4 criteria, there are 16 personality types. For example, INTJ is for strategic, independent, visionary thinkers. INTF is for insightful, empathetic, and idealistic people. ENTP can be for inventive, curious, energetic, solver, and so on. So, how can this classification help us as homeopaths? So, INTJ are the mastermind type. Example can be Silesia or Aurum. They are cold, logical, and perfectionistic people driven by internal standards. INTP is a logician based on logic. They are Baraita car, they are withdrawn, highly intellectual but socially hesitant, lost in thought. ENTJ is a commander like Natswamika, who is efficient, competitive, and born to lead, intolerant of incompetence. ENTP is a debater like Sulfur, the ragged philosopher, loves intellectual combat and original ideas. INFJ is an advocate like Natrum, more deeply private, highly principled, and emotionally complex. INFP is a mediator like Falsatla, idealistic, gentle, and driven by need for emotional harmony. ENFJ is a protagonist like Phosphorus, the warm version of Phosphorus, who is magnetic, inspiring, and deeply concerned with the growth of others. ENFP is a campaigner like the vibrant Phosphorus. They are enthusiastic, creative, and highly social, easily distracted by new ideas. Then ISTJ is a logistician like Calicar, duty bound, literal, and thrives on routine and reliability. ISFJ is a defender like Calcaria Carp, the protector, hardworking, traditional, and seeks security for the nest. ESTJ is an executive. Sorry, is an executive like Asal, the ultimate administrator, fastidious, organized, and focused on control. The ESFJ is the consult like Carbo-Veg, socially responsible and supportive, but can become sluggish or overwhelmed by duty. ISTP is virtuoso like Sepia, the detached version of Sepia. They are independent, technical, and prefers doing over talking. Emotionally cool. ISFP is the adventurer. Staff is like Staphysagria. They are artistic, sensitive to beauty, and quiet, holds emotions in until they overflow. ESTP is an entrepreneur like Tarantula hispanica, restless, impulsive, and seeks immediate sensory stimulation and action. ESFP is an entertainer like Argentum Knight, the performer, impulsive, excitable, and prone to anticipatory stage fright. So the shadow type correlation is also needs to be considered as well. When a person is under stress, it is their degenerated stage. So an ENFP or a constitution similar to phosphorus under extreme stress may slide into a shadow ISTJ or Calicard state, becoming uncharacteristically rigid, cold, and obsessed with minor details. So it is important to value the state of mind or the stress level the person is in while classifying the constitution. Again, we have another classification, the left brain versus the right brain theory. The left brain dominant is the architect. They are logic, their strength is logic, structure, sequence, precision, and anxiety over details. They are analytical, objective, rational, and detail oriented. Their strength is mathematics and logic, language and planning. They are professional, functional, and methodical people. They want to know the how and why based on data. They can be accountants, engineers, lawyers, or programmers. Some of the left brain remedies are Asalb, Silesia, Calicar, and Naxomica. The right brain dominants are generally the artists. They have high intuition, feeling, and imagination. The holistic thinkers. They have creative, subjective, intuitive, and impulsive traits. Their strengths are visual, spatial calculation, arts and music. They're seeing the big picture of things. They are spontaneous, expressive, and fluid. They are more comfortable with ambiguity, and gut feeling. They can be designers, musicians, counselors, and entrepreneurs. Some of the homeopathic remedies are phosphorus, pulsatilla, lachesis, and cannabis indica. The corpus callosum remedies. That means the corpus callosum that modulates between the two hemispheres of the brain can be strong enough to neutralize the difference between left thinkers and the right thinkers. So some of the remedies are anacardium and baraita card. Again, there is something called Enneagram classification, where the more soul deep classification based on the core motivations and fears of the person. They are classified as a reformer. They are driven by the need to be right and perfect. Like Calicar, the helper who is driven by the need to be loved and needed. Like Falsatilla, the achiever needs to be successful and admired. Like Lycopodium, the individualist need to be unique and authentic. Like Ignatia, the investigator needs to be competent and knowledgeable. Like Silesia, the loyalist who needs to be secure and supportive. Like ourselves, the enthusiast who has the need to be satisfied and happy. Like phosphorus, the challenger who is driven by the need to be strong and in control, like Naxomica, and the peacemaker who needs inner peace and harmony, like Baraita Kab. The attachment styles is again another classification based on how their close relationships are based on. What is their primary choice? Do they feel secure? Do they feel anxious? Do they feel dismissive? Or do they feel fearful? I would like to conclude my session today, reminding everyone that studying or classifying the Constitution, studying the classifications, and understanding the Constitution of the person, maybe even before the patient starts talking, can be helpful immensely for understanding the patient, for better communication with the patient, and obviously to deduct the right remedy homeopathically possible.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, and very informative presentation. And ma'am, you are rightly told about the constitution, how constitution helps us in prescribing the right medicine, because constitution is physical and mental makeup of a patient. And you told us about different plant medicine and animal medicine. Now, ma'am, can you share any case regarding constitution prescription?
And Dr. Hariharan has raised hands. So with that, we have no time for that. We can
Okay.
invite Hariharan, sir.
Okay, thank you all of IFPH.
Please wait. Dr. Hariharan, sir, you can speak.
Okay, Madam Dhanalakshmi, A very wonderful presentation. Really, I am congratulating you. See, constitution means scientifically, can you give an explanation for it?
Basically, it is trying to classify the person into a category so that we can deduct a remedy. That is the primary purpose of it. And it includes the physical makeup of the person, the general tendencies is including the lifestyle he is involved in, and the emotional processes happening inside him, the mental level, the intellectual powers he has, everything all together contributes towards the constitution of the person.
That is not my question, madam.
Yes,
My
sir.
question is that
Yeah.
any genetic relation,
Of course.
can we change that genetic relation with the of a personality? Suppose a calcaria patient, and suppose he has a lot of basic deep miasmatic diseases, and if we treat according to the as per direction of homeopathic way, we are giving the calcaria carb medicine. Can we change that calcaria carb constitution to some other constitution?
See, sir, the constitutions obviously they can change depending on the stress of the person, but the basic constitution, that is the makeup of the genetic and the environmental factor. Okay, that cannot be changed drastically. If there is something abnormal, it can be brought back to the normal. But what is something that is normal or natural to the person, it cannot be changed to another state, another constitution.
Sir, we can modify the constitution, but we can totally change the constitution. That's what my observation, sir. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank-
madam. Anyway, you have done a very wonderful work.
Thank you.
Go through this and find a lot of findings, and suppose that will help the homeopathic doctors regarding the treatment and curing of the cases. Okay, thank you very much.
I would like to add one more thing, sir. When the calcaria carb constitution person has something distressing, we can remove that if we understand that he is a calcaria person.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you.
Dr. Rajita, you can conclude the session.
Okay. Very congratulations and thank you to you, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to tell that the life that uh, I forgot what to speak. When a child born, then we can differentiate the constitution during a different exposure of environment that can change a constitution from like natrium to pulsatilla to silencia, like this.
Sure. That is why we say it's a mix of genetic and environmental factors.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, very thank you and congratulations to you. Now we are forwarding it to Malayalam team. Very congratulations to you, ma'am.